Hi guys, my name is Nonima Digela. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I want us to talk about Kelly Khumalo's arrest question, because most people, whenever they hear their confessions, and both confessions are pointing at Kelly Khumalo as the person who hired the accused, who are now sitting in the dock for the crime of Senzo Meyiwa murder. So they are always asking one question: why is the mastermind not arrested? Because now the mastermind has been pointed out as Kelly Khumalo, and the questions that comes after that one are a lot, and no one is willing to answer them. In fact, Ugeninda did say prosecutorial driven tonton. So that is where the entire situation is. Anyway, let's do this video focusing on that part when it comes to Kelly Khumalo right now. So the state picked the wrong people, and the record proves it, right? There comes a time in every criminal trial where the question stops being who committed the crime and becomes why are these people on trial, and not the ones who were actually there. Why are these one here, the 5 men? Why are these 5 men on trial and not the ones who were actually there with Senzo Meyiwa when he died? That moment has now arrived, and because after Sergeant Batubakai Mokhola's testimony, one thing that was no longer debatable was this investigation did not follow evidence. It followed destination. That's what it did. And when police chose a destination first, justice collapses second. That is what happened here. So this case on its own is quite complicated. It is quite complicated. Now let's talk about the undeniable starting point, the house where Senzo Meyiwa died. Let's clock it in, because wow, the state refuses to enter in that house. Let's lock in the facts, no witness disputes, right? Senzo Meyiwa was shot inside Kelly Khumalo's house. Kelly Khumalo was present, Longwetwala was present, Gladness Ntombi Khumalo, who is Kelly Khumalo's mother, was present. Zandile Khumalo, who is Kelly Khumalo's sister, was present. Kelly Khumalo's 2 children, Christian Khumalo and her daughter with Senzo, they were present. And also Tumelo Madlala, who's the best friend of Senzo, and also Mtokozi Sitwala, who is the friend to Senzo and a friend to Mandisa, was also present. So you see, there was multiple civilians that were present there. The shooting happened in a confined space. In orthodox policing, that triggers automatic arrest. In any other case, those people that were inside with Senzo were supposed to be arrested. No convictions, no guilty, arrest for elimination, so that you understand what happened here. They were supposed to be arrested, especially when the story became taking. They were supposed to be arrested, and not just the reason for that. It was arrest for elimination. That is how you preserve versions, test contradictions, prevent collusion, secure credibility. But here, there's anomaly, because any of that never happened. Sorry, Kelly Khumalo was never arrested. Longwetwala never arrested. Boinke, the other occupants, were never arrested. Instead, 5 men not in their house are charged 6 years later. That is not investigative sequencing. That is reverse engineering. That's not how a case is supposed to go. The Longwetwala detonation, when Advocate Tulani Mgomezulu put on record that Longwetwala pulled the trigger, he wasn't speculating according to how he put things. Because once the allegation exists on oath, the question becomes brutal. Why was Longwetwala never arrested even to test that version? Sergeant Mokhola had no answer for that, and that silence is louder than any confession, because police do not get to choose who is immune from suspicion. not legally, not constitutionally, not ethically. They are not supposed to do that, but in the Senzomiwa case, it happened. And then Mukula's credibility collapsed with Mgomezulu's cross-examination. Sergeant is not a peripheral witness. She is a functional investigator, even though here she was playing to be a tickle there, which means her decisions define the case, her omissions contaminate the record, and under cross-examination, three things became clear. No arrest strategy. Mukhola could not explain why key occupants weren't arrested, why statements were taken without detention, why suspects were treated as witnesses indefinitely. She could not explain that. That is not discretion, that is dereliction. Second thing that was clear, no evidence-driven selection. She could not articulate what evidence excluded Kelly Khumalo, what evidence excluded Longwetwala, what evidence suddenly included the accused years later, which means the selection was not evidential, it was institutional. Thirdly, fabrication allegation left standing. When it was put to her that the evidence against the accused was fabricated, Mukhola did not dismantle that claim. She survived it procedurally, not substantively. And in law, unchallenged improbabilities metastasize, because if you are not going to say no, that's not what, then you are letting it sink in. Do you understand? The law, why this is not a technicality, this can't be technically. Firstly, failure to arrest investigative is equal to investigative irregularity. Police are not required to arrest only when they are sure. No, that is not what is required of police. A Schedule 1 offense occurred, suspects are present, versions conflict. Murder is a Schedule 1 offense. Failure to arrest key suspects, undermine reliability of statements, allows version in contamination, destroys equality before the law. The second thing, selective non-arrest violates Section 9 and 35. Section 9, equality. You cannot protect some suspects while prosecuting others without rational basis. Section 35, fair trial. Accused persons are entitled to a properly conducted investigation, non-manufactured evidence, equal application of criminal procedure. A trial built on selective policing is constitutionally infirm. The third thing, courts have warned against targeted prosecutions. South African jurisprudence is clear. Police may not build cases around chosen suspects. Evidence must be led, or else evidence must lead, not follow. Where investigative bias exists, benefit of doubt accrued to the accused. When initial suspects are shielded, later suspects inherit reasonable doubt by default. And there is a reality that the state cannot escape, no matter what they do. This case now carries an indelible stain. The first suspects were never arrested. The most obvious persons were excluded. The accused arrived late, fully packaged, which means the dog now looks less like justice and more like substitution. That is exactly what is happening here. And now the question that will haunt the verdict is this. No court can ignore this. If the police did not arrest the people in the house, how can they be certain about the people who were not inside the house? This is no longer about Senzo Meyiwa alone. It is about whether the criminal justice system investigated the murder or curated a narrative, because if the state picked the wrong people, then no conviction can survive appeal. Do you see how this is going to be a waste of time? Do you see how is this going to be a waste of time, because now the state shielded the insiders being the people that were inside the house with Kelly Khumalo, or Kelly Khumalo, everyone, all 6 of them. They were with Senzo that day, but now they are shielded. What should have been done in as the other cases, the people that are close are the ones that get arrested. For that matter, the moment it started looking like murder, everyone was supposed to be arrested who was sitting with Senzo, including his wife, if it looks like orchestrated murder. That's what should have happened. But no, so that they can get questioned and be found out what was happening, etc. And then get released based on that. These ones, the Khumalo people that were inside the Khumalo house, none of them was arrested. None of them was questioned along the lines of being a suspect. They were all treated as what? They were treated as victims. Victims that have contradicting claims. Victims that are contradicting each other from the same story, same event that happened while all of them were there. They are the looks of the people, the descriptions, everything is just questionable. And there's a lot of incidents where like things are not making sense at all. And we are expected as the country to accept it as it is. We as the country is expected to accept things as they are, question nothing, we will hear no lies. That is what they expect from us. It's quite sad for the Meyiwa family, indeed. And I always pray that Umama Kasenzo should never die. Mistake. Umama Kasenzo should never die without knowing what happened to her son. She needs to know who pulled the trigger. What was the commotion about, if there was any? But it sounds as if there was. Then why was he shot? Was it an accident? Was it a mistake? Or whoever brought the gun? Whatever, man. We know the story that is out there. But hey, the bottom line is that that mother needs to know what happened to their son. Do you understand? So what are your thoughts when it comes to this? Let's talk comment section. I want to hear your views. Thank you so much. I will see you on our next video. Bye-bye.